I'm going to start talking about Libra. And the reason why is because there's a lot of funny things about it. For a start, not a true, well, I wouldn't say not a true crypto, not a blockchain. It's not on the blockchain, even though it keeps on advertising as such. And the other thing is, well, there's actually quite a lot of things really. One is it's more like a stable coin, pegged to a dollar. It has burn going on. And the thing is, some OK coins do have that kind of replace functionality, like you have with Monero, for example, right? So basically, oh, well, the fact is it's not being launched till next year, and they haven't secured the name yet. So the name could end up getting hijacked, which means that heaps of people get scammed. So before it even gets launched, you can almost guarantee that people will have been burned, which is never a good start for a coin anyway. You got the fact that it's not doing what, well, there's a few things that they said they were doing, the problems they were taking away, and the problems were one about the, oh bollocks, what was it again? The problems that have been solved already by Lightning networks. So the I think transaction speed, availability, the fact that people haven't got bank accounts in third world countries, but they've got access to Facebook. These are all obvious things, and they're all issues that companies like Dash and with their little project they had going on in Venezuela to free the Venezuelan people from using their currency. And to all sorts of things, from Saddam Hussein backing his currency with gold, and then the Americans taking him out and pretending it was because of some other reasons. These problems have been solved before, and they've been solved first and foremost by Bitcoin, and then the speed problem solved in Bitcoin by SegWit, and then also later on by Lightning Network when it comes to transaction speed as well as cost, right? Side chains and stuff as well, like Varium and what's the other company called Vericoin. Um, Binary chains, that is. So all these problems have been solved before. They're not coming in and doing anything new. They're just coming in as Facebook with a user base. That might work. It still might be pretty good. It might take the pressure off of Bitcoin because they'll start attacking Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg's already doing an extra company called, what's it called? Calibra, which is a car I used to love when I was younger, back in South Africa when I was a kid. I'm Scottish, but I lived in South Africa when I was a teenager. And I remember seeing this car. We had the tower next to us in Johannesburg, and I seen this car coming in with it had all the bomb protection for the JG Stridham Tower, which is called the Hillbrow Tower. And I remember watching this car coming out and saying, "Damn, that looks bad. I want to get one of those one day." And well, now it's a typical Vauxhall slash GM slash whatever Holden. It just rusted out. Anyway, it still looked cool. So what can we expect from there? We can expect that people will get fleeced by some shitcoin that gets launched called Libra. I might even be one called Calibra as well, so they can cover all bases. Because you think with the kind of programming team that you have over at Facebook, that with hundreds and hundreds of top of the line developers, where we struggle in our company to get developers, and in that other company to get infrastructure staff, the people at the top of their game in IT, doesn't matter what the discipline is, really hard to come by. I've just taken 2 months. We haven't even signed a deal yet with two more staff, but that's how long it takes to get two engineers. Developers, that took me just to find another team that we're using right now for Pryvate. So these things, they have all that at their hand. If people will search out to work for Google. People will stake out a job at Facebook for crap money. Because I know that I got offered a job years ago with 10-month recruitment process with Google, and then they told me the money at the end of it, and I just laughed at them. It was just insane. It was like half what I was on. Actually, it was less than half from what I was on. So 2012, I think I was 2011 something. Anyway, the point is, these guys have these workers who, they have a massive team. They have brainstorming sessions. They have access to all the resource. How can it take so long to launch something? I've seen another few YouTubers saying, "Oh, it's so quick. Next year, wow, start next year." No, that's not quick. You should have been able to develop that coin and then launch. Well, that would have been the smart way anyway. Develop the coin, develop the network with the kind of resources you have that should be possible, given the fact that you can rob off of other things, and it looks like they've already robbed off of everyone from Ethereum to Bitcoin to EOS, probably mostly EOS actually, to create what they're creating, which is not a blockchain solution but is a crypto solution. a crypto network solution. They apparently give you different wallets and things. When I say like wallets that aren't linked, so the user can have multiple wallets. Look, you're trusting the company that can't be trusted with data already, and has shown itself time and time again to betray the privacy of its users, sell data when they say they're not selling data, and you trust this company. Well, I'm sure you don't. I'm sure anyone that watches this channel doesn't. But anyway, we are to trust the company that did this. We're to trust Zuckerberg, who his whole company comes from the theft of an idea in the first place. The guy is a scumbag, you know. More of a scumbag than the people who now control Alphabet, I'd say. The people who you know, who allow scammers, plethoras of millions of scammers to frequent YouTube. They'll cut off people who they will label as alt-right, even though half of them are left-wingers. And yet their bots can't detect a scammer, right? So all I'm saying is watch out for Libra scam coin. Those of you who are dumb enough, and also who've got the lack of fortitude and self-respect, solidarity with the rest of your fellow men out there, to trust the same kind of massive companies, conglomerates, and all sorts of things that destroy this world. If you are dumb enough to go into that, just be careful that you don't buy a shitcoin knockoff, because these dipshits didn't bother registering it before they went to market with, guess what we're going to be called, before we're even on CoinMarketCap and before we've actually launched a coin at all with a ticker. Yep, that's what we're going to be called. I'm surprised the name isn't taken already with the thousands of coins that are out there. Because of course you can create a coin in a few minutes if you go into one of those websites where they give you a smart contract that you can basically launch, ERC20 contract. Yeah, I'm surprised that it doesn't exist already. It probably does. You know, I don't think these guys have done their digging. If they had done their digging, because I used to live in Australia and New Zealand, and everyone knows what Libra is there. It's feminine and maxi pads and tampons. Funny one. It's hilarious that their marketing team. Well, actually, you know what? It just shows a level of incompetence, but it also just shows that all they'll do is the same as Ripple. They'll do the same as any other network that has nothing viable to it, that just has marketing behind it to get a whole bunch of noobs and dipshits to back it. And the reality is that even if 90% of the world was using Ripple and Stellar Lumens and Bitcoin Cash, it doesn't even need to exist. I mean, I'd never buy it. I mean, I've sold it. Oh no, shit! I did buy it once. It was the biggest fuck up I ever made in trading. Sorry, I take that back. I bought it because I was swing trading, and I thought I was gonna make something good out of volatility. Greed got the better of me, FOMO and greed, and then I paid for it, $128,000. But you know, that was in the base of like an hour. It was horrible. Actually, yeah, probably about an hour. Just shows how much you can get wiped out in crypto, eh? So don't do it without learning what you're doing first. Fantasy trade first if you have to. Watch the Cryptoversity and look on the Facebook Cryptoversity channel. There's a whole bunch of stuff on there. Watch a whole bunch of YouTubers. You know, people like Alessio Rossani, I think his name is. He's really good. Technical traders. Crypto Sniper. He's really good for the technical analysis. So are scumbags Phil and Bob from Trading Genius, who are scammers. But they're quite good technical analysts. You can follow their stuff. Never pay them a penny because their university is a scam. They have they have the same thing that Antminer does, where they rip off one in every maybe 10-20 customers, I'm guessing. So so that if you try to complain, then you get a whole bunch of other customers. It's like, no, they're great, and they'll sing their praises, and they'll drown out the voices that they've scammed. You see what I mean? And that's just pure greed, because you're making a lot of money as a trader. I know I did, and actually I'm getting back into it now. I've been living in America, so I stopped trading. But now that I'm in the free world again, I can start again. So I have done. I left some money in a lot of exchanges, and it's just been annihilated. Just dust and stuff. But it was still about 6 Bitcoin worth of dust, and most of it's gone. So I'm down to about 0.5 because I had 0.5 sitting on Well, I consolidated them all to 0.5, and I had 0.5 consolidated over to Cryptopia, and that's locked away now as well. And the reason I chose Cryptopia to consolidate stuff to a while back, when I didn't have time to trade because I was too busy, and also I was still in America until about 6 months ago. The reason why that was because years ago in New Zealand, when they had the banking crisis 2008, they had a thing there where the government would back you up to $60,000 or $65,000. So if you had, let's say you put 300,000 K like a friend of mine did, and she's like 70 years old, but she breeds Staffordshire Bull Terriers. She put 350, I think it was, into one Western Bay Finance. They went tits up. She can apply. She could apply to get the 65 grand back, not the 350. If she'd put 60 grand in each company, she would have got it all back. So it pays to look at the rules before you do these sort of things. In crypto, of course, there's not many rules. There's some. I mean, we're going through KYC right now in Jersey, regulatory license for Pryvate, because we're preempting the rules that are going to come. We don't want to go through sort of stuff, the disruption that Binance is going through right now, for example. Yeah. So I'd say just be careful. What other things are compelling about Libra? Yeah, it's going to open up things to Africa and basically in the boondocks where people are just living like hicks. Still have Facebook though, still have a mobile phone, want to get into the money markets. It'll allow probably money laundering to be better, but of course Facebook it'll be to do with spying because it's a government entity effectively. So you understand, companies like Facebook and Google, the reason these companies exist is because governments local and federal government in the USA particularly weren't able to easily break the Constitution. Of course, the government breaks the Constitution all the time, right? But they weren't able to easily get away with it. So just to detract from it, it's easier to allow private companies that aren't governed by these same rules, these antitrust and all this sort of crap. It's easier to get them to break the laws for you and then control them instead. You see, so this is what Facebook does. This is how Facebook takes all your privacy away and steals your information. This is how Google does the same. This is how Facebook, as I've said about over a year ago when I was living in Colorado, a year and a half ago, that Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, they all facilitate scammers because they fail with their massive teams that could create a cryptocurrency network within weeks, but are taking 6 months at least to do it. With these massive teams, they could create bots that protect you from scammers. Will they ever do that? No, because scammers pay them money. And all they care about, like anything evil, is money. The love of money is the root of all evil. Not money itself, the love of money. If you love money, you're a horrible person. If you love what it can buy for you, if you love the freedom it can give to you, different stories. Don't let people try to tell you that just because you're focused on making success of your life sometimes, and especially if you're making success outside the system, so you've chosen not to be a system slave, not to be a wage slave, a tax slave, but still break free from the system, then congratulations to you for having the motivation to free yourself as well as hopefully contribute to mankind. Because remember that there are things greater than ourself, and if you really think that it's all about you, you're living a solipsistic reality, and you need to wake the fuck up and grow the fuck up. Everything's linked. That's about it. Libra Coin, buy it if you dare, but watch out for the shit coins. I mean, it is a shit coin. It will be a shit coin. Even if it makes money, look, Ripple makes money. It's a shit coin, right? You print it at will. It's like any stable coin, for example. Not only printed at will, but it also no hard cap from what I can tell. So you can just create more. So there's no limitation like Bitcoin has, and you can divide it up, and therefore it has fungibility, because you're just repeating the same as what we've done before, and you're allowing the worst culprits to repeat the same mistakes as the previous financial paradigm, which should be dying right now. Other thing as well is, if you're people that know me, please wake up. Remember how I told you years ago to buy Bitcoin, then I told you years ago again to buy Bitcoin back in 2015 and 16? Well, I'm saying it again, and I've been saying it again for the past 6 months now. Please wake up. It's not going to go away. And I said this in a video in Wyoming last year when I was to look up the Wyoming show. You'll see. Even if you bought in at 20k, and you were that unlucky guy who is a short-term thinker instead of a long-term thinker, having a strong hand, and you sold out like a dipshit. Well, if you didn't sell out, All you have to do is wait. It's going to go beyond 20. Every single spike it's had before in the past, it always reaches it, and then it always overtakes it, and you will be happy even if you bought at 20k. Once it gets to 65,000, then it gets to 100,000. And this is doable, because you need to understand these are all just numbers. You get used to it, just like people got used to not paying 3 cents for a movie and paying in New Zealand $30, or in Britain 20 quid. You'll get used to, you'll get used to the fact that you only have to pay 10 satoshis for, I don't know, a movie, or maybe 1 satoshi for a movie. Who knows? Maybe we'll have to bring out some kind of fractionary side. Maybe we'll have to just use Litecoin and Bitcoin together. Who knows? Maybe there'll be some kind of binary chain, like I mentioned before with Vericoin and Verium. Who knows? But you've got to get yourself some Bitcoin. Put 80% of what you have to spare. To spare. Got any spare change? Yes, here you go. Here's my spare. Putting it on Bitcoin. Here we go. Please spare. Because if you spend stuff that you get in a loan like a fucking moron, like Sony, damn, I swore, damn it. Now I'm going to be deplatformed. Not, you know what I mean, just knocked down again. I was doing so well. Anyway, if you do that, spend money you don't have, you'll be the kind of person who's impulsive. That means when that price takes a dip down to 8 grand, you'll be the panicker who goes and sells, because you're a moron. So don't. If you are a moron, try get out of your compulsion to be yourself, right? Be someone else for a while. Be a guy who's got strong hands. Be a guy who believes it's going to go up, and you'll more easily do that if you, what's the word? If you don't have, if you don't have, what do you call it? If you're not spending money that is beyond your depth, if you're not spending money you need back next week, and it's like, oh, but I'd take money off my sister and my mom, and I told them I'd have it back to them in a week, and now it's gone down to 8,000 or 6,000, let's say, and you just lost that, and then you go, crypto shit, man. Whole bunch of people on LinkedIn, right? So I've got quite a lot of people on LinkedIn because I used to be quite active in business, and so I get a lot of comments and things, and I put them up, right? I've got about 9,000 people on there or something like that. And what happened was, this lady in Austin, who I spent a lot of time in Austin because I've got friends out there, good friends in America, in Austin. Great city, weird chicks, but anyway, yeah, great city. And she was basically bagging crypto with her, her headline thing on her profile. And then some other guy came back her up, some beta simp arbiter. So I kind of set him straight. And it turns out they've both been burned. She burned about 270,000. Well, that must have been the value at the time when she got hacked. Being hacked, well, Bitcoin's never been hacked, so you got hacked. That guy, he lost money as well. It sounded like he was a meat and potatoes kind of guy, like the bit of this, bit of that, car maintenance, stuff like that. You need your car fixed? Because he started speaking to me with disrespect at first, then I spoke to him with a little bit of disrespect, then I kind of pulled it in, because it's a professional channel, no trolling. You look like a dick if you do. So anyway, the long and short of it is I kind of had them seeing my side at the end of it, and correct them that, hey, you're really upset because you got attacked and it happened on that medium. It's just like saying that the banking system is a complete fraud, which it is, because you let your laptop get infected by spyware, and then called up an Indian call center and gave them your PIN code, and they copied your card from your spyware, and then somehow, I don't know, it's something like that, you know what I mean? It's a bit ridiculous, and you got to grow up and see it for how it really was. You fucked up, yeah. So that's it, really. I'm gonna leave it there. Libra Coin.